Joanne suggested that I make something to show what our garden looks like when it's in full bloom, so that if we sell the house one day, our potential buyers will know what they're getting. So I want to show you this. If you're a gardener, this will all be much more interesting to you than if you're not. But so we have over here a lot of perennials in this bed. You can see the allium here, the little yellow flowers. They're starting to fade. They'll be cut back pretty soon, as will this spiderwort. We have a lot of different varieties of daylilies, and we have these beautiful daisies here that I brought over from my old house in East Rochester. These things are very prolific, and I've been able to divide them and replant them throughout the garden. Here we have a little patch of some iris, which I just replanted a lot of these here. I'm hoping they'll be happier here than they were in other places in the garden. On this side, we have a gigantic hydrangea. This is a white hydrangea. These flowers will get quite large, and then they will, eventually turn kind of a rusty colored. You hear our friend the blue jay? We're in his yard, I guess. We have some spirea here. Threadleaf coreopsis that's just about to bloom. Some black-eyed Susans here that'll be up later. 2 more daylilies. And of course these peonies, which have already come and gone. Back here we have these beautiful trellises that Joanne built. We have 2 Don Juan climbing roses, and we have some nice oriental lilies. Daylilies, see, these are just about to pop, and along the edge here, lavender. The white rose is doing great. Those Don Juans have had some difficulty. I don't know, we may end up pulling them out, putting something else in their place. We also have a tree peony back here. I'm not going to wade into the bushes so that you can see what it looks like, but it's a really nice tree peony. It's the famous $50 plant that you may have heard about. Again, more daisies from the original patch, and then some anemone, some obedient plant. I call it disobedient plant. I have to pull that back pretty good every year. Here we are in our little meditation garden. Joanne built this herb garden for me, and we have mint, thyme, parsley, tarragon, and some chives. This part of the garden is quite damp. One might even say wet. Underneath this is a huge French drain which we've had installed, which actually does a very good job of draining the water. When it rains or when the snow melts, there is standing water here, but it drains off, and all the plants that are in this bed now are planted because they like moist conditions. We have a native to New York, Joe pieweed. We have 2 different varieties of it. This is Little Joe, and then back in the very back over there, that is Gateway. Very nice. We have Lady's Mantle here, adding a little color. Again, more of the daisies from my original daisy group. Across the back fence, you'll see that we have some clematis. These are brand new, these little ones here. This is one that we put in last year, and you can see it has some just beautiful blossoms on it. Really nice. And a ton of buds. Here we have some small hydrangeas also, And you can see we have another daylily there that is just about ready to bloom. Here we also have a Bergenia. Now back over here, this is an area that I still need to do some work on. We have this wonderful plant called a Harry Lauder's walking stick. It's in the willow family, and you can see that the branches are all crooked and really interesting shape. This looks quite nice in the wintertime even. We have a holly back here, but you can see it's not doing very well. It looks kind of sick. So I'll probably pull that out and replant it. These gray planters, they're going to go this year too. That's part of this year's project. Every year we got to have a project, right? Here we're growing some morning glories up this arbor. We're in serious conversations about getting a wisteria because you can see that the rose that we planted here has not done exceptionally well. Alright, so now let's move around to the side of the house. Over here, again we have more daisies, again from the original planting of daisies, and black-eyed Susans, which will be really beautiful in the, and coneflowers in the fall. On this side we have a raised bed of strawberries, and we've been getting enough strawberries every other day for the two of us to have quite a nice dessert. Here we have a climbing rose that we're going to be adding a new trellis to because it's about to fall off of this one. Now this is a pretty new bed that I'm just working on this year. We have two different varieties of coral bells, bachelor buttons, which we have throughout the whole garden. They seed themselves, it's wonderful. An anemone, a hydrangea that was back in the wet garden that just didn't do very well back there, daylily. This is a Lenten rose that's just wonderful. This is given to me by Bruce Farnsworth, father of an ex of mine, and every time I see it I think of him. He was such a dear person. And we have another daylily here. This is Gay Feather, and here I've planted some new daisies yesterday. I just tore them out of the ground up here because they were crowding that coral bells, and just stuck them in the ground over here, and you'll see that they do really well. And then here we have some yarrow. I think this bear spot right there is going to be home to a lamb's ear, which I just love, but I haven't been able to find any good place to put in the garden. Alright, so moving around to the front of the garden, we have a bleeding heart here, which just has a few flowers left on it. It's just about finished. And we have down here underneath it, which you can't see right now, dog's tooth violets. Here we have a hibiscus, very nice plant, very mature, and it likes to make baby hibiscus biscay. This is the front of the house. We have a variegated dogwood and this plum tree, or we call it a plum tree. It's not. It doesn't make fruit. I don't really know what it is. And then along here in the bottom, we're going to be planting tulips this year. One thing I didn't mention was that throughout the whole yard we have several hundred tulips and daffodils, as well as alliums bulbs planted. So we have flowers. Whoops, this is the painter's equipment. You're probably not interested in that. We have flowers from about the 15th of March until November every year. So that's pretty good, I think, for upstate New York, where it's cold and snowy most of the time. Alright, I hope you enjoyed our garden tour.